Each panel discussion, of course, has a theme. The first one is, do we need to change our curriculum drastically to compete in a new globally integrated world? The moderator for this panel is Mr. Dheeraj Mathur, Executive Director, PwC, and we can follow that up with a loud round of applause. Our next panelists, and as and when you hear your name, request you to please come up on stage. Mr. Dilip Chenoy, MD and CEO, NSDC. Our next panelist is Mr. Raj S. Dhankar, Dean Faculty of Management Studies. I'd like to call on stage Ms. Ghosh, Ms. Shobha Mishra Ghosh, Senior Director, FICCI. Our next panelist is Mr. Sanjay Gupta, Trustee for the Dr. K. N. Modi Foundation. Welcome, sir. Finally, our last panelist, Dr. Amit Kapoor, President and CEO of India Council of Competitiveness. We've got quite an esteemed panel here. Over to you, Dheeraj.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Business World. Good to be back with you guys. They have a Higher Education Act that never once mentioned the nature of the entity that's going to sponsor the institution. Normally, everyone writes not-for-profit. Society Trust, Section 25. So certainly we have great expectations, and knowing the man, I think we will see a lot of action taking place, a lot of changes, a lot of reform, much of it quite overdue. To start off, I'll address the first question to Amit. Amit, what do you think takes to compete globally?
Thanks, Dheeraj. If you want to ask me in terms of country, it's about productivity. And the question is going to be, if you talk about productivity itself, productivity is going to be in terms of what is it that I'm able to do with my people? How do I actually increase the per capita income? But I'll have to take it back to the whole perspective that if you want to increase per capita income, education has a huge effect on how the per capita income increases. I make my people more productive. So going back to that whole idea, if I want to make my people more productive, I will have to go into a situation wherein I actually give them the right set of ideas. In fact, the very focus that we have today, skilling is important, but I think we are just losing focus here in this country. That the question is going to be whether we need job seekers or job creators. So that is going to be one question. So productive nation is going to be about job creators. It's not going to be about job seekers. So the attitudinal shift that is required to create that value is absolutely enormous. In fact, if you really look at how do I change that whole thing, I'll have to change it starting with faculty itself. Because the whole thing of the idea is going to be given by the faculty. But the question is going to be that how do I bring that aspiration to move ahead?
Right. You did point, productivity is one big, very important thing. And innovation, Shobha, patents, PhDs, research.
I mean, when you are looking at the, competing with the global scenario, apart from productivity, we need to look at how can we globally competitive. Traditionally we were a closed economy, and our education system was actually geared towards, bringing out graduates that would take to the needs of the industry, which was in a closed economy. With the technological evolvement and the way our youngsters are so much glued on to technology, and information is so readily available on the internet, we completely need to revamp the way we have been thinking about imparting education. The role of faculty itself is changing. So, from a information provider, the faculty has to gear to become a facilitator, mentor. And also, in India, we have been, working in silos. Our university systems, our research institutions, our industry have been all working in their own silos. It's time that there is a need for facilitating interface, institutional mechanism to increase that interface and engagement between universities, industry, and research institutions. That is what would bring in the the competitiveness that we are talking about, and the productiveness.
Right. So one thing I think that we missed, and what does it take to compete? Relevance to industry, productivity, but innovation and research, Raj.
Thank you. We need to have the best curriculum, what we need to teach, and also the best of the faculty who can teach that. To me, these are the two main ingredients, what we teach and who teaches that. Today, we have more than 600 universities and more than 30,000 colleges, and much large number of them have come up in the last about 10-15 years, thanks to the opening of the private sector. Now, still the three basic issues in the higher education, of course, curriculum is important, but we cannot ignore other basic issues. And they are, A, we need to have higher accessibility. Still, we are only able to put about 14% eligible students into the post-secondary education system, as opposed to the 26% average, world average. And US and Europe is about 70%. Second is the equity. Look at the difference between boys and girls and regions and so on and so forth. And thirdly is the quality. I'm not sure we really figure in the top 200 universities of the world. We really rank way low. And the problem is that the quality. And in that quality, you have to bring in the importance of curriculum and the faculty. Research is very important. The reason we don't figure in the top 200 universities is the whole parameter of we have to understand. And that's the weightage being given to the research paper that we write, the referral research papers, and the impact factor, and the infrastructure, and so on and so forth. In all those four parameters, we really do not figure much on that. And therefore, to my mind, to say that we have to compete globally, only curriculum is important, this is one part of it to me. We have to see a holistic picture of the whole post-secondary education. And then only you will be able to have higher productivity and quality.
We have, I think, identified almost all the drivers of becoming globally competitiveness. How can we forget in them skilling?
If we want the firms to be competitive, right, are we creating an education system and society that recognizes the ability of firms to compete and enables firms to compete? And if we then drive it down to the resources thing, and other than natural resources, if you look at the human resources, as a society, are we recognizing the key things that will enable firms to compete and individuals to grow in firms? The current understanding is possibly no, because as a country we don't recognize and reward productivity, whether it is in the academic system or whether it's in industry or whether it's an individual. Interestingly, as individuals, we don't recognize quality and productivity. So possibly, one of the biggest challenges that the education system has, whether it's primary education or the skilling system or higher education, is how do we transform society to recognize and reward productivity and look at different types of behavior as we go forward? I mean, if we take that as a mission, then everything else will fall into space.
Yeah, thank you, Dilip. That's some very interesting insights. Raj, where are we? You talked about faculty, you talked about curriculum. In terms of where we should be, what do you think is the gap?
Based on our experiences in different capacities as an administrator, as a researcher, as a teacher, as a consultant, and then when we compare ourselves with some of the best universities, to me the basic point comes in autonomy and accountability. Now, once we have freedom to do what we want to do, that's the autonomy part, and not every other day being guided and told this is how you should act, this is how you should behave, this is what you should do. Unfortunately, you have a system where the total course curriculum of Indian post-secondary education is designed by UGC. I mean, it can't happen unless we as individuals are given freedom, and then we are held accountable for that, our performance is measured. You really can't help improve the quality of your post-secondary education. So to me, the fundamental really thing is give freedom to colleges and universities. Essentially, of course, the freedom to design curriculum is very important. Two, in terms of the level, I would say that we are not revising our curriculum as often as we should. Again, there is no pressure from students. There is a very little pressure from the industry. And then there is very little sort of motivation and incentive to revise it, and the freedom available in the university system to revise it. Okay. We need to have freedom to do what we want. I, as a faculty, once I'm hired, I should be asked to design a course and should be able to offer that course.